Hey, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for our latest webinar. My name is Marcus Hanscom. I am the Director of Graduate Admission here at Roger Williams University, and I'll be talking today about our part-time graduate programs, but by extension, they can be done full-time as well if you're interested in pursuing a longer study if you'd like, or shorter studies, I should say. But I'm going to be primarily talking about our programs that are in our Providence campus, although some Bristol programs as well, and also online, because I know many of you are coming from afar and are looking to study with us online. So if you have any questions as we go throughout the session, you'll see on the lower right-hand side of your screen, if you're on a desktop, that you can ask a question in the questions box there. Or if you're on a mobile device, you'll see a questions icon at the bottom of your screen, and ask any questions that you have related to the programs or grad school or otherwise as we go along, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So just briefly, a little bit about us. We're a private nonprofit university. Our primary location here is in Bristol, Rhode Island, right on Mount Hope Bay and Narragansett Bay. We're about an hour from Boston and about a half hour or so from Providence, Rhode Island. We also have a metro campus in Providence, which gives a lot of access to a lot of the students that work in that area, but also access to internships and work opportunities and partnerships with of course, major government organizations, City Hall, and our state capitol facilities are there. So a lot of access, especially for some of the programs that you all are interested in. We have about 4,000 undergraduate students that study with us. Those are our full-time students based here in Bristol. We also have about 320 graduate students, about 450 law students, and they're spread between both our Bristol and Providence campuses as well as online. And one thing that we're really committed to here is serving the public good. So a lot of our programs are aligned with doing projects or actual service opportunities with serving community-based organizations, public organizations, nonprofits, government, and so on. So we're really, it's something that we try to have our students that are attracted here are ones that are interested in education that's about being something or contributing to something bigger than themselves. So you're not just here to get an education, but actually make a difference. So a little bit more about our location, our main campus here in Bristol, right on the water. The programs that can be done part-time here are our construction management program, criminal justice, and special education. We also have our preservation practices program that offers some part-time opportunities, but they are limited. Students in our Providence campus, we offer our full-time M.P.A. there as well as the third year of our law program. But our part-time students there are in our leadership and public administration programs. And I know some of you are interested in those programs today. They are delivered in the primary mode of hybrid, where students meet every other week on campus in Providence. And of course, our online students can't do that. So if you're going to be an online student, we strongly encourage students to be online in a synchronous environment where you're able to log in and participate in the class live when they happen. And the classes happen in the evenings. That's from 6 to 9, one night per week. Of course, alternating weeks when they meet on campus. And if you have extenuating circumstances, for example, we've had folks that are in the military that are on ships or deployed somewhere and they can't log in live, certainly if they're in another time zone as well, then you can watch the recordings of the classes and participate in the online portions of the class separately on a more asynchronous basis. But our faculty prefer, at least in those two programs, that you're online and participating in the live course as much as possible. And finally, our exclusively online programs. Our criminal justice program actually has migrated to a hybrid opportunity here in Bristol, so they meet every other week for their core classes, but the program can be done, again, fully online. Cybersecurity is an exclusively online program, so there's not a campus-based environment. And as I mentioned, leadership and public administration can be done on a hybrid basis, asynchronous or synchronous, but primarily synchronous learning where you're logging in to those live classes when they happen. So I want to talk briefly about each of the programs that can be done at least on the part-time basis, and certainly we can answer any questions that you may have on other programs. We have our construction management master's degree. It was brought back to us 2 years ago. We had taken it offline for a little while, especially as the recession hit, and of course construction and real estate industries really were hurt. It's a 30-credit program. It can be done with an optional thesis. On a part-time basis, it can be completed in about 2 to 2.5 years. but can be as quick as a year program if students have an undergraduate degree in construction and are willing to pursue the program in a full-time basis. And it covers a wide variety of management-oriented topics within construction related to strategy and oversight, project management, financial strategy, conflict resolution, team management, those types of things, as well as a little bit of technical things like lean and other things. And the tuition you see there is just over $1,000 per credit hour in the construction program. Our Master of Science in Criminal Justice program is our oldest graduate program that we offer. It's a 36 credit program. And again, the core classes can be done in a hybrid model, or you can do the program fully online. So we do have students studying from a distance in the program. And it's really designed, if you're thinking about a master's and what the demand for a master's looks like in the field, when you're talking about policing, largely at the local and state level, master's degrees give opportunities for mid and upper level kind of management opportunities. At the federal level, in many cases, they're now looking for students to have a master's degree coming into many of the civilian jobs available in federal agencies. So it's its utility is a little bit different at each level, but there's a demand for it across all the industries related, especially in the courts as well. And it has kind of a two-faceted focus. One is kind of the nature and causes of crime and really researching that piece, and then also looking at the management side of the justice system. The current tuition is $9.51 per credit hour. That will go up to just $9.84 for the fall next year. Similarly, that tuition will be the same for cybersecurity. Now, I know we have a few students interested in the cybersecurity program. As I mentioned, the only format for cybersecurity is fully online. It's a 30 credit program, and it can be done in one of two ways. You can apply to the master's and do the full master's straight through, and you can do that on a full-time or part-time basis. The vast majority of our students in cybersecurity are part-time. So you can do that program typically over 2.5, maybe 3 years on a strictly part-time basis. There are some limited courses offered in the summer as well, so that allows you to kind of accelerate your timeline a little bit. The other option for completing the program is through a series of certificates. We have 3 graduate certificates. We have a certificate in cybersecurity, which is really kind of a 30,000-foot view, kind of introductory certificate, 9 credits. We then have a digital forensics certificate, which is 15 credits. And then we have a 9-credit cyber specialist certificate. And the cyber specialist certificate is highly technical. So for students without a technical background, you'll need to take some prerequisites to qualify you for both the master's program and the cyber specialist certificate, though the cybersecurity and digital forensics certificates can be earned without technical background in programming and networking. So you have some options there. But if you decide to, you can kind of take bite-sized pieces to earn the master's. So if you get those 3 certificates and complete your thesis, then you can earn your master's just by doing that. The advantage to that approach is that you can start adding things to your resume a little bit sooner, because as you take a few classes, you'll earn a certificate. So it's a nice option. Our program is pretty highly technical compared to many of the others that you see out there. A lot of cyber programs are more policy oriented and more talking about government regulation and so on, whereas our program has certainly some of those elements, but also focuses a lot on things like penetration testing and malicious software, networking, and so on. So it is a very marketable degree. We have our students working for companies like Raytheon, Dell SecureWorks, and those companies are not looking for students without technical background. They want a cybersecurity degree that has the technical coursework that we're talking about. So we built the program with their insights and used them as resources and advisors when we created the program about 8 years ago. And so we've had a number of students go out into various very technical cyber job opportunities. And as I mentioned, the tuition is the same here as the criminal justice program. It's currently $9.51 per credit hour, and it's over 30 credits to complete the degree. We also offer a Master of Science in Leadership program. It's a 36 credit program that's hybrid out of Providence, or it can be done fully online, again, in a synchronous or ideally synchronous environment where you're logging in live when the class happens, when they meet every other week. It's really a broad degree and can be used in any industry. and it's for folks that are interested in really kind of growing in their existing roles and being able to more effectively manage and lead people. And this is really apt, or it's applicable across for-profits and the nonprofit sector. We've had a variety of students coming in there, some working in education, hospital systems, government organizations, private corporations, and even public safety. We've had a number of fire and police over the years pursue this program. And there's a kind of mixture of both kind of soft and kind of hard skill training, technical training in the program. So there's some level of financial work and budgeting, but it's light. Most of the work is more focused on organizational change and development, team management, conflict resolution, human resource management, personnel negotiations. And there's also some kind of self-awareness, more personal leadership style like training and assessments that happen. And currently that program is at $626 per credit hour. Again, it's out of our Providence campus in a hybrid or online model. Similarly, our M.P.A. program is very connected with the leadership program. You'll often have courses together in both programs. Also 36 credits. It's a hybrid program or fully online, so similar format. There are 2 tracks within the M.P.A. program, so depending on the work that you want to do, we have a public management track, which is more broad, and we also have a healthcare administration track for students who want to work maybe in hospitals or insurance networks and understanding more of the policy and regulatory work within healthcare. So it's very specific. But an M.P.A. is a widely recognized professional credential, so I'm sure you've seen folks with those letters after their name. It's typically these professional degrees have a fairly common core of classwork and skill sets. So you're really developing some of your leadership skills, but also understanding government policy, public policy work, regulatory information, some legal work, and then you've got some of the more human resource type stuff, labor negotiation, especially when you're dealing with labor unions in the public sector and so on. So it's a pretty good cross kind of interdisciplinary program with opportunities to take coursework in leadership as well. And then some students will even take electives in criminal justice or cybersecurity, or one of our other programs, like we have a new urban and regional planning certificate program available through the School of Architecture, where students can take courses in things like real estate finance. So there's some great opportunity to kind of cross over into other areas. Our newest program on campus is our M.A. in Special Education program. It's a hybrid program here in Bristol with some courses fully online. And it's designed for students who have a license already, so it's not designed to be a primary certification, but an additional cert from your elementary or secondary education certificate you may already have. And it's really about providing equitable education and access for students with exceptionalities, where you'll be dealing with doing assessments and providing individualized education programs, IEPs, that are common for students with disabilities. And so the program just started this year, and it really builds on the high quality education that we provide through our School of Education, where we have an expansive number of students doing elementary and secondary education preparation and certification here at the undergraduate level. And so this program can be done on a full-time basis in as short as a year, and then part-time students will do it over 2 years. And it's really designed scheduling-wise for practicing teachers who need to come to class maybe after the school day or on weekends or even online. This is our Metro campus for those of you that might be thinking of pursuing your degree in Providence. And we opened this facility, I believe it's about 3 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer, close to 4. We're right at 1 Empire Street in Providence. It's the former location of the 38 Studios kind of debacle, if you're familiar with that in local news. And we have our University College there, which houses all of our continuing education programs, as well as our third year of the law school, our M.B.A. program, business administration program, and the M.P.A. in leadership program. So it's a very professionally oriented, more adult education oriented facility, and very close to all of the things all of the businesses and things that you need access to in Providence. So it's very accessible to the highways as well if you're commuting to campus. So switching gears a little bit, if you're interested in applying for any of these programs, first and foremost, we're going to thank you for coming to the webinar today by providing you a $50 fee waiver. So your application fee will be waived as a thank you. So please use the code that you see on the screen there. It's GRCWEB, W-E-B. It's in yellow at the bottom. So be sure to write that down and use that when you're applying for the program. And your application is done fully online. We don't do paper applications any longer, as most campuses do not. We'll also ask for a letter of intent, which is really just a 1 to 2 page double-spaced statement where you're telling us a little bit more about why you want to pursue your particular program, what you think you'll contribute to the program, maybe some relevant work experience, why you're interested in the degree, maybe something you want to do in the future and you hope this is preparing you for. So it's really just giving you an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about you and what you bring to the table and ultimately why we should have you in our program. Beyond that, we require your official college transcripts. These have to be sent regardless of how many courses you've taken. So if you did a couple classes in the summer somewhere and then you complete your degree elsewhere, we do need to see all of those transcripts. So please be sure to send those along to us. We accept them either electronically directly from the school or they can mail them to us, but they have to be official and sealed from the campus. All of these programs require 2 letters of recommendation. These need to be professional recommendations, so they could be faculty from your educational opportunities, whether it be an undergrad or grad work that you've done, or it could be a supervisor or even a client from work. Those are most appropriate. Please refrain from using family or friends. This is really designed to be something that gives us an opportunity to learn about how you might be in a work setting or how you performed in the classroom. We also ask for you, if you're applying to leadership, the M.P.A program, or special education, we require a resume. If you have any sort of work experience, as I assume many of you do, I always encourage students to submit a resume even if your program does not require it. It gives us an extra opportunity to see a little bit more about you and what you bring to the classroom and really will help your application, and it certainly won't hurt. If you're applying for cybersecurity or special education, we require that you submit a BCI, which is a criminal background check. You would submit that from your hometown. Usually it's a small charge of $5 or $10 that your local police department would be able to conduct with your state background system. And so you just submit a copy of that to us. And for those of you that are into special ed, as a teacher, you likely already have that or something similar for your work. So that is required for just those 2 programs. And as I mentioned before, if you're coming into special education, we require that you've already earned primary certification. So you would just be submitting to us a copy of your teaching certification. Now you can apply online at our website. It's very easy at grad.rw.edu/apply. You'll create a login there. And you can submit your application before your other materials come in, so please submit that first, and that'll allow us to kind of work with you and track your remaining materials. The only things that we have to get mailed, unless your school participates in an e-transcript service, is your college transcript. Your letters of intent and resumes can be uploaded on the portal on the website, or they can be emailed to us at grad@rw.edu. Letters of recommendation can also be submitted via email if your recommender sends them directly. They can't come from you. They have to come from the recommender who wrote the letter. But you'll also be asked on the application to submit a name and email address for each of your recommenders, and our system will send them a secure message that allows them to log in and upload their letter directly. So if they're able to access that system without any problem, they won't need to email us anyway. But we do accept them over email from the recommender directly if they choose to do that. Now, financial aid is a little bit different for graduate students than undergraduate students. There's not a plethora of scholarships and grant opportunities like the undergraduate programs typically have. So most of the graduate students, especially part-time students who are working, are paying for their education in one of 2 ways. They're either taking out student loans, which is fairly common for many students, or they're taking advantage of some sort of employer reimbursement plan. And so if you have a reimbursement or a tuition assistance plan, absolutely take advantage of that. We do have someone who specializes in our bursar's office specifically for third-party billing, and so she can set up that direct kind of pipeline with your employer if they want to be billed directly for your coursework. Otherwise, we can work with students to make sure you get reimbursed at the end of the semester. And of course, many students who are working are asked to maintain a certain grade level in order to be reimbursed for their coursework. But that's absolutely the best option first. So explore that with your employer to see if you have opportunities there. If you need to borrow through the federal loan programs, you certainly can do that. The federal loan programs are available at a fixed low interest rate. Currently, the federal direct unsubsidized loan is actually lower than what you see on the screen there. It's 6.08%, and the plus loan is available at 7.08%, so it's always 1 percentage point different. The federal loans allow students to borrow up to $20,500 per year in the direct unsubsidized loan program. And then you can borrow up to our cost of attendance. It's a total cost number that we provide that estimates cost of housing, books, miscellaneous expenses, and so on. So if you needed to, and this is more applicable to our full-time students, if you needed to borrow money to support your other expenses while you're in school, like paying for an apartment or paying for books or just being able to eat, those things you can take money for in the federal loan programs. For most of our part-time students, I tend to not see them taking plus loans because they don't need them. And the direct loan, you don't have to take the full $20,500. You can just take the portion that you need. And in order to be eligible for these loan programs, you have to be enrolled in at least 2 courses. So if you're just taking 1 course at a time, unfortunately, federal loan programs are not available to you. But if you're taking 2 classes at a time, you can borrow up to that $20,500 per year. Most students never need anywhere close to that, because if you look at the math very quickly on, even if you use cybersecurity as an example, you can figure it's $950 per credit hour, so less than $3,000 per course, and you're taking, say, 2 classes. If you multiply that over 4 courses, you're talking about a $12,000 expense over the course of the year. So you certainly don't need $20,000 for those expenses, and that money's less for some of our other programs that are priced a little bit lower. In order to be eligible for these funds, you do have to fill out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. You may have completed this in undergraduate. The form is very similar now, with some modifications. As a graduate student, you're no longer including parent information, which for many of you, if you're working, that's kind of irrelevant anyhow. But you'll see that as you indicate grad, it's only going to be your personal financial circumstances. And really, these loans, since they're loan money, they don't run out. You're not applying for grants that are limited. They're not need-based, so your income is not going to influence your ability to obtain these loans or not. These are generally available to all of the graduate students. And so quickly, just some important dates. And again, if you have any questions, please enter them in that box there, or you'll see the icon on your mobile device if you're on the phone. If you're interested in starting in the spring, all of these programs are allowing part-time students to begin this spring if you'd like. And so the spring semester starts on Wednesday, January 22nd. We've got some time. So if you apply soon, we can work with you on your application and getting your remaining materials. Many of our programs will offer a conditional admission if you wish, and conditional admission will basically buy you about a semester's time to complete your remaining application materials. So at the very least, we would need your application, your personal statement, and your transcripts to get you started. So if you're admissible based on your transcript, we can give you a conditional admission to start for a semester if you need a little bit more time for, say, your recommenders to write your letters and so on. If you're into the programs that have a background check requirement, we do require that before starting any coursework, as you can imagine. But otherwise, we can give you some of that extra time if needed with a conditional admission so that you can get started with the program. But we do have a fair amount of time at this point, so we're not too rushed. But if you get started, we'll be able to help you get started for the spring semester. So the spring runs from January 22nd through May 13th, and the next week is when our summer schedule starts. Many, but not all, of our programs have some courses that you can take in the summertime. Criminal justice, cybersecurity, public administration, leadership, they all have summer course offerings, so you can take them there. Special education does as well. And that runs until July. Special education has some summer 2 coursework, so that runs a little later into the summer. And then for many students who start in the fall, Labor Day is late this year, so we actually start in September, which is the first year in some time that we haven't started in August. So we run September 2nd through December the 15th. And that's a pretty common schedule here, and we don't have any accelerated terms at the graduate level beyond our semesters and the abbreviated summer term. So I hope that information is helpful. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Our goal is to make sure that you have all of the information that you need to make an educated decision on whether the programs here are best for you or not. So if we can answer any questions candidly for you, either now or in the future, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk to you about your individual interests and what you hope to do with your career, and help you really understand if the degree that you're looking at will help you get to that next step that you want or not. And obviously we'd like for you to come here, but if there's better opportunities to align your next steps with a different program elsewhere, we're happy to kind of recommend and point you in those right directions as well. We ultimately want to make sure you get into the best program for you. So please don't hesitate to use us as a resource. You'll be working primarily with me or with Sarah Holland, who's our assistant director here, and she works a lot with our Providence students and actually has office hours in Providence every Wednesday. So if you are going to be attending any of the programs there in Providence, you can meet with her one-on-one throughout the day Wednesday, and we can set up a time for you, even if you have to come in the evening after work if you're working currently. So are there any questions that I can answer for you all now? Otherwise, I know it's a very busy time and everybody's excited for the holidays, so I don't want to hold you for any longer than we need to at this point. We also welcome, if you'd like to sit in on a class, we can connect you with that. It's a little more difficult with an online program, but if you're coming for any of our programs that have hybrid or meet on campus, we'd be happy to have you sit in on a class and meet with the faculty and students. I see there's a question regarding some of the technical technical requirements for cybersecurity programs. We do have some general listings. I mean, most computers now, if you have a computer that's current within the last couple of years, then you should be fine. To be doing any of the more technical work, I wouldn't be doing that on a tablet. You do need a laptop at the very least for some of the coding and programming work that you'd be doing in the program. And the program director can certainly answer more specifically on whether you need something of greater capacity. I don't think that there's anything that's a matter of storage capacity. It's more computer performance and your computer's ability to handle some of the software packages that you'll be using. So most computers, like I said now, as long as you have a laptop or desktop, most are going to be able to handle most of the work that we have. Other than that, course materials and things are available largely online. There may be some books that you have to purchase, but a lot of the materials are videos and casework and articles that you'll be reading, and then there are some online ebooks that the faculty utilize as well. So it's designed to really be as convenient as possible for you, so that it doesn't require a lot of interaction that you need to come to campus for if you have to buy books and so on. So we really aim for convenience. The question regarding the M.P.A. program, would the M.P.A. in-person program be fit for somebody who works a 9 to 5? It is, and actually most of the students in the M.P.A. and leadership programs are 9 to 5 employees. So the courses start at 6 o'clock when they meet in person. So really the only challenge can be for some students is if they're coming from an area that maybe has higher traffic or maybe takes a little longer to get to campus. That hour may or may not be enough for some students. And we've had students come down from central Massachusetts, even as far as Worcester, which is about an hour or so from campus, so that pushes it a little bit. But then there's certainly getting into the city, there can be some traffic, so that can delay students a little bit. So depending on how that commute looks like for you, that may or may not be as flexible, but virtually all the students in the program are 9 to 5ers that are coming after work to go to class. And what's really great about that too is that you've got a lot of people that are actively working in different industries, and it helps you build a professional network, and you're able to have a depth of conversation that's a little different when you're able to share your experiences and the work that you do on a regular basis, and that really complements what the faculty are sharing in the classroom. Rather than just a faculty member lecturing you, you're able to share how programs are developed or how you're doing organizational change or dealing with conflict in your work experiences, which is a really nice benefit of these working programs. So question for, let's see, the online certificate program for cybersecurity. Will there be days that we do have to be on campus for first class or test days? No, actually the program is designed to be 100% online, so you really don't have to come to campus. Students in the past have come to campus during their thesis work, where they've consulted with the faculty. But again, given that students are online and often remote, and remote in a big way that they can't very easily get to Rhode Island, it's designed so that you can be, Skyping with your faculty program or emailing and so on, so that you're able to get the advisement that you need, but you don't have to physically come to campus. But the coursework is designed to be done 100% online, so you don't have to come to campus for a first class or tests or anything on campus. Are there any other questions that I might be able to answer for you all? I hope this was helpful. And again, if I can be a resource in any way, feel free to call me or email me. That's my direct line that you see on the screen. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I'm sure many of you are working and maybe on your lunch break. So thank you for taking that time. And again, if I can help with anything, please feel free to reach out. So happy holidays to you and your families, and we hope to be working with you soon.